Welcome, everybody. This is Ava filling in for John. Welcome to Murtech.com's Daily News Update Extra. We are sharing a video snippet that provides no nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. I am following this channel and given this video a thumbs up. The link to this video is in the description box below. Please follow Murtech on Rumble. Give me a thumbs up and share this information far and wide. This great news update will begin momentarily. Thank you and may God bless.
Three new witnesses taking the stand Wednesday in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal trial, one of whose testimony prompted the defense to move for a mistrial. First on the stand, LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio, who responded to Kid Cudi's home in December 2011. This incident now recounted several times from varying perspectives, including that of star witness Cassie Ventura, Kid Cudi himself, and former Diddy assistant Capricorn Clark. Combs allegedly becoming enraged upon discovering Ventura was in a relationship with Kid Cudi. Capricorn Clark calling Ventura to warn her that she was parked outside of Kid Cudi's house and an armed Sean Combs was inside waiting for Cudi to return. Kid Cudi then calling the police to report a possible break-in. Officer Ignacio testifying that he noticed a black Escalade as he and his partner arrived on scene and that the vehicle drove away as the police car approached the home with its lights flashing. Ignacio ran the plates of the vehicle, determining it was registered to Combs' record label, Bad Boy Productions. Ignacio telling prosecutors he did not pursue the vehicle because there was no determined crime at that point. On cross-examination, Ignacio telling the defense he did not remember anyone mentioning a gun, and there was no gun referenced in his report. Capricorn Clark had testified in this trial that Diddy did have one. Prosecutors then calling LA Fire Department arson investigator Lance Jimenez to the stand. This testimony making the biggest splash of the day. Jimenez testifying about his role relating to a January 2012 incident at Kid Cudi's home when the musician's Porsche was set on fire. Jimenez telling prosecutors he believed the car was targeted. Kid Cudi testifying last week he believed Sean Combs was involved with the Molotov cocktail that destroyed his Porsche. Jimenez testifying that Kid Cudi's home was swept for fingerprints following the December incident. 2 prints were recovered. Jimenez testifying that the fingerprint cards were later destroyed by an LAPD officer in August 2012. The witness saying he would typically have had to sign off on destruction of evidence as the lead investigator, but that he did not do so here. The defense objecting to this line of questioning. The jury then went to break, and that's when the defense motioned for a mistrial, arguing this line of questioning implies that Sean Combs was able to buy his way out of trouble. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo saying, quote, "They were suggesting to this jury that someone in this courtroom had something to do with the improper and suspicious destruction of these fingerprints." The judge denying that motion, then instructing the jury to disregard any questions and answers related to the destruction of the fingerprints. Prosecutors then calling a friend of Ventura's to the stand, Deontay Nash. Nash interned for Bad Boy Entertainment before becoming a stylist to Ventura. Nash testifying to witnessing multiple threats against Ventura from Combs, including telling Ventura he would not release her music and saying he would release sexually explicit videos of Ventura if she upset him in any way. Nash testifying that Combs exercised control over Ventura's outfits, approving each look. The witness telling prosecutors Ventura would stay in hotels with Combs on about a weekly basis, Nash saying he would often see Ventura packing a bag with sex toys. Ventura previously told him she did not want to participate in the so-called freak-offs, graphic sexual encounters, often including male escorts, conducted at Combs' request, but that she did it, quote, because he, Combs, wanted her to. Nash testifying that Combs got violent with him a few times, including once where he, quote, started choking me out for going out to a club with Cassie, whom he said he had to hide from Combs, quote, too many times to count. Nash describing an incident where Combs attacked Ventura in a fit of rage, going after her so aggressively, Nash and another assistant jumped on Combs' back to stop the violence. The witness telling prosecutors Combs only stopped after Ventura struck her head on the corner of the bed, drawing blood. Combs then saying to the group, quote, "Look what y'all made me do." On cross-examination, the defense asking Nash how he could maintain a friendship with someone who had assaulted his friend. Nash replying, quote, "It was just what I was used to." Wednesday on the Megyn Kelly Show, lawyer Alan Dershowitz saying he believes the prosecution will secure a conviction, but that it will likely be overturned on appeal because Combs is not charged with domestic assault and battery. How do you think it's going for the prosecution?
Well, it's going very well at the trial, but it will be reversed on appeal for the same reason the Harvey Weinstein case was reversed. The jury shouldn't be seeing all this material because he's not charged with any of it. If this were a state case in which he was charged with domestic abuse, with kicking his wife,
it's part of the RICO Foundation, right? It's like these underlying predicate criminal acts.
Trafficking and all of these things undercut that. It makes it sound like he had terrible relationships with the people close to him rather than trafficking or doing anything involving RICO. So I think from a legal point of view, the state is undercutting its own case. But from a jury point of view, my God, what could be better than showing them a videotape of him being a terrible, terrible person? But he's not on trial for being a terrible person. He's on trial for specific violations of specific federal laws, and they will be reversed on appeal.
Prosecutors are trying to connect the violence to Combs's RICO charge, or racketeering and conspiracy, which requires two underlying predicate crimes for a conviction. Thus, they must introduce evidence of crimes, even if they haven't been specifically charged. Much of this evidence has not even elicited an objection from Combs, and thus could not form the basis for an appeal. Also of note, Cassie Ventura, now married to fitness trainer Alex Fine, delivering her third child, a son, on Wednesday. With no cameras or recording devices allowed in the Diddy courtroom, spectators are relying on reporter accounts from inside the room and work by multiple sketch artists. Combs, who is being held without bail and goes home to a prison cell at night, allowed to appear before court in any combination of up to 5 button-down shirts, 5 pairs of pants, 5 sweaters, 5 pairs of socks, and 2 pairs of shoes without the laces. A highly limited wardrobe for the former fashion mogul. Inside the reportedly freezing courtroom, Combs remaining largely stone-faced, though occasionally seen flashing hand heart gestures to his family members or hugging his attorneys during breaks. Combs's children and his mother, regular fixtures of support throughout the long days of testimony. Combs's uncharacteristically gray hair sparking some online discussion. Body language expert and jury consultant Susan Constantine weighing in on the defendant's demeanor during a recent episode of Law and Crimes on the case.
The fact that he's leaning back with his legs crossed, that's actually a power move. It's what we call a four-corner stance, where an individual will cross their legs over, and that is kind of a power stance, especially when they're leaning back. We see this a lot with people that are so comfortable, but they're also arrogant. I think he wants to appear softer, kind of in the backdrop, not so big and overt, because he's generally like he said, he's like the star, right? He's always very big and loud and intense in his movements. Now he's playing the more subdued Diddy.
Constantine also analyzing Combs's behavior inside the courtroom, where he's frequently seen whispering to his attorneys.
It's almost as if he's wanting the jury to see that he is making a comment. So even though he's moving and gesturing towards his attorney as if it's a whisper, we don't know what he's actually saying. But the fact that he's actually carrying out that act is telling the jury there's something in what was just said that caused him to react. So 93% of what we say is nonverbal. And so I'm sure that the jurors are taking note, like, why was he constantly always whispering? Because he's actually very involved in his defense. And he may be instructing his attorney that what he agrees with, what he doesn't agree with, and what he wants to say, because you have to remember, Diddy is always a controller.
She concludes Combs is attempting to project confidence and control, despite potentially facing life in prison. UK prosecutors officially confirming charges against online influencers Andrew and brother Tristan Tate. The Crown Prosecution Service authorizing charges of rape, human trafficking, and actual bodily harm against the brothers, which will be prosecuted in the UK once their legal proceedings in Romania are wrapped up. More on that case in a minute. Tristan charged on 11 counts involving 1 woman, Andrew facing 10 charges involving 3 women. Prosecutors say he's also charged with controlling prostitution for gain. That's the UK's version of sex trafficking. Andrew also faces a civil suit in the UK brought by 4 women accusing him of rape. The allegations span a time frame between 2012 and 2015. The brothers face a separate case in Romania involving allegations of a ring to lure women into their control for sexual exploitation. British authorities say Andrew and Tristan will be extradited to the UK after the conclusion of that case in Romania. Their current whereabouts are unclear, but according to the Associated Press, they were photographed last week at a police station in Romania, where they are required to report regularly while facing charges in that country. The two visited Florida in February after a Romanian court permitted them to leave the country, Governor Ron DeSantis telling them, "You're not wanted here." The brothers have previously denied all wrongdoing. Coming up, 2 Secret Service agents suspended after an on-duty scuffle outside of the Obama residence. Tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline or still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement, and every day you wait might make things worse. With over 5,000 new tax liens filed daily and tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments, you don't want to mess around, okay? The good news is there's still time for Tax Network USA to help. Self-employed or a business owner, even if your books are a mess, they've got it covered. Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. Even after the deadline, it's not too late to regain control. Your consultation is completely free, and acting now could stop penalties, threatening letters, and surprise levies before they escalate. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Megyn. You may have missed April 15th, but you haven't run out of options. Let Tax Network USA help before the IRS makes the next move. The Secret Service suspending 2 female officers following a late-night brawl last week outside of the Obama's D.C. residence. The incident occurring around 2:30 in the morning on May 21st, an unidentified agent placing a call to her supervisor, reportedly upset that her shift replacement was late. Real Clear Politics' Susan Crabtree posting audio of the call on a recorded Secret Service line. RCP also obtaining security footage showing the 2 officers in a physical altercation. That video can be found at MegynKelly.com. The Secret Service confirming the authenticity of the report in a statement to the Megyn Kelly Show. Quote, "The individuals involved were suspended from duty, and this matter is the subject of an internal investigation. The Secret Service has a very strict code of conduct for all employees, and any behavior that violates that code is unacceptable." President Obama's office has not yet released a statement on the incident, which is yet another black eye for this agency, still under fire for last year's security failures, allowing 2 assassination attempts against then-candidate Donald Trump. Critics and some lawmakers citing the Secret Service's internal DEI push, including former Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle's stated goal of reaching 30% female representation, as a factor in the security breakdown. Cheadle announced her resignation 10 days after the Butler assassination attempt, amid furor over her agency's performance. Many of those same concerns now resurfacing in relation to this latest report. The Trump administration has pledged to rid the government of DEI initiatives, the president signing an executive order earlier this year directing all federal agencies to dismantle their DEI programs. And that'll do it for your AM update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the Megyn Kelly Show, live on SiriusXM Triumph Channel 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.